let's just say I quickly moved from being an employee to a business owner the day I heard myself sitting on the bus on my way to work chanting, "I don't want to go, I don't want to go, I don't want to go." And I realised I had been chanting this for at least the last several months. But that day I heard myself, and I walked into work that morning and gave my notice and skipped out the door.
Bravo. I can see how excited you still are about the fact that you took that big leap of faith.
And, you know, there was a few little things that happened from that day until the day I actually did start my business. But one of the things I'd known for quite some time, I wanted to have a business of my own, but I never knew what it was. And then push came to shove, and I started to think quite seriously about what it was I wanted to do. And what I did was I revisited my career and looked at where I'd spent a lot of my time, which is in business administration. And at this stage, I was also a teacher at TAFE, and I was teaching people how to work in an office, how to run businesses as a support person. And I absolutely loved that side of it. So, and because of that role, I was also having contact with a lot of employers, and I knew there was a gap in bookkeeping. And funny enough, I started my business career as a bookkeeper, which I didn't last in very long because I really missed the people contact. But I decided that I would start my business by operating Kim's Books as a bookkeeper. Well, Jane, I pivoted twice in 6 weeks. There was a reason why I left bookkeeping in the first place. So why in the heck was I bookkeeping again? So I pivoted, and I went from being a bookkeeper to a virtual assistant. And I still have, and in part of that was bookkeeping, and I still to this day have my bookkeeping clients. But the virtual assistant area wasn't doing it for me either. There was just something in my heart that I just kept thinking, I'm missing. I'm not really helping people in the way that I want to help them. I want to be involved in the business. I don't want to be someone sitting on the sidelines, having the tasks given to me, and then I deliver the goods and move on. I really wanted something that was where I was more involved in people's success and be able to work people on a closer basis. So I went back to the drawing board, and look, I spent this whole afternoon and I just had 3 lists. One list was all the jobs I'd held throughout my career. The next one was what those tasks were that I carried out in those different roles. And the next column was the things I liked the most. And I can still feel that sensation I had when I finally looked at this big picture. The light bulb went on, and I thought, I'm a damn well office manager.
Hey, go Kim, beautiful.
And so I positioned myself as an online office manager. And, you know, that worked well for me, but a lot of people didn't understand what that meant. And I still wasn't quite getting the clients. I wasn't helping the way I wanted. People kept seeing me as a virtual assistant. Now, what I'm doing is not a virtual assistant role. And a little while ago, I came across a group of people called online business managers, known as OBMs. And they were doing what I do. And I discovered there was an industry called online business managers who worked closely with business owners to help the business owner to be able to grow their businesses to multiple figures, you know, from 6 figures to 7 figures plus. That's what I wanted. So I became a certified online business manager earlier this year, and I'm now really focusing on helping people in a much more enjoyable role for me, but giving more value and support to business owners.
I'm hearing it's a more holistic type of approach, Kim.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. It is. Yeah. And and the other thing the thing I really like about it is it's long-term relationships. It's not just doing that task I mentioned earlier and then moving on, and then maybe coming back to do another task. It is really getting to know the inside nuts and bolts of the business, how it is structured, what the business owner is wanting to achieve, what their goals are, what their vision is, and how do we help to get you there.
Excellent. And you worded me up, of course, about some really important key things that it's so generous of you to share with everybody here. And the first one, of course, being what are the 3 systems that you have to make your business easier?
Okay, so look, let me just clarify this. Whilst I work with business owners who have been in business for, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and they're generating great income, I do also have a passion for business owners in those first 1 to 3 years, because I've been there as well. And this is what I'm talking about today, is to help people who are in those early stages of business. And what I find when it comes to systems, people don't quite understand what systems are, or what systems they need at this stage in their business to help make their business easier to manage. So they go off and they'll buy whiz-bang software that has all the bells and whistles, which they never use. When you're first starting out, in those first 3 years, there's 3 systems you really do need to have. One of those is a money system. You need a system to record what is coming in and what is going out. And if you've got that system in place, then you have a vision of the cash flow. You get a true representation of cash flow. And there's many business owners who are in business in those early years that have no idea what the bank balance is, no idea what their monthly expenses are, and they just, running by the seat of their pants the whole time. So a money system is essential. As I said, it gives you a true picture of your cash flow. It helps you to identify the gaps. So if you're spending more money than you're making, there's a big gap there, guys. There's something that you need to change. And it also gives you an overview of your business, so you can start making better business decisions. So now is the time to upgrade to a new computer system, for example. Do you have the income to pay for that? Maybe you're tired of working at home alone and you're thinking, I'd like to go into a co-share workplace. I want a hot desk. Your cash flow will tell you whether or not that's affordable right now. And your money system can be something as simple as Excel or Google Sheets. And what you do is you divide that into monthly sheets and you record the money that comes in and goes out and total at the end of the month. At the end of the financial year, you send that Excel sheet to your accountant, and guess what they do? They extract all that information and put it into their accounting software, which is time that you're paying for. And then from that, they produce the profit and loss balance sheet and whether or not you have tax liabilities. So that's one way of doing it. And I guess if you've only got a handful of clients, you'll get by with that for a while. But really, if you're serious about your business, you will at some stage start to look at investing in an accounting software. Now, there's many on the market, and I'm not here to represent any. I do use Xero and I do use QuickBooks for my clients. So they are 2 that are very popular on the market. There's also free accounting software such as Wave. Now, when it comes to choosing which accounting software to use, there's some things to consider. And the first thing to consider is, do not let the price alone determine which accounting software you'll go with. There are differences in prices. So, for example, Xero and QuickBooks, there's a big difference in the subscription models of these. The more a software program makes your life easier, the more you will pay. The more automations a software program offers, the more you will pay. So Xero is one of the more expensive ones because it makes your life easier. So you need to decide on which one. The other thing to consider is do some research, check out the customer reviews, have a look and see how user-friendly the software is and how good is the software support. Do people answer questions? Is the provider, do they answer your queries quickly? Check that software and apps can be integrated so you're not doubling up with processes. So for example, if you have a third-party payment gateway, such as Stripe, PayPal or Square, can then that integrate to your accounting software because it will save you time. And when you come to look at a free software, the thing to really consider here is, do they accommodate GST? Because not all free accounting software accommodate for GST. So if you are registered for GST, then you need to be able to record the GST that you're collecting and the GST that you're paying for tax purposes. So that's it for your money systems. And I would say once you've got that set in place, the other thing I find people do is they don't schedule time to regularly do their bookkeeping. So you have people who they will come in once a month and do their bookkeeping. And then you'll have other people, they'll subscribe to say Xero. They'll completely ignore it to the end of the financial year is approaching. And guess what happens? Mad scramble to try and get 12 months of transactions set up into your accounting software. That's not good practice. So at least once a month, schedule time to do your bookkeeping. The second system is you need a scheduling system. A scheduling system allows you to set up meetings without the back and forth of those endless emails. And I'm sure everyone here can relate to this, especially when we first start. We don't always know what's out there. So, I'm sure that you have the experience where you have had endless emails between you and another person trying to decide a time and a date that's mutually agreeable to have a meeting. There are quite a few of these available once again. I'm familiar with Calendly, and I know Acuity is another one. I personally use Calendly. I'm not recommending it, but I use it because it is so user-friendly and it has everything that I need. So these are other things that you need to consider when you're looking at systems. Which ones are going to be easier for you to learn, and which ones have the things that you need? The things you need now, not what you need 12 months down the path when you're turning over $1 million. It's what you need now. So Calendly works really well for me. And I suggest quite strongly that this is a software that you need to subscribe to pay for a subscription level, which will allow you to access the automations. It will save you so much time. So one of the advantages of having a calendar system or scheduling system, is it helps to make the customer experience much easier. If you keep in mind that very often the first time your potential customer has contact with you is via setting up the meeting. So if you've made that process as easy as possible, and you've also introduced them to yourself, then you're already on the way to establishing that know, like, trust factor. And what I mean by that is if you pay, I think with Calendly, look, we're talking $10 US a month. I think that's about 13 Australian dollars a month to have the automations. That's not a lot of money, and it will save you a lot of pain. With the free scheduling systems, you do get the confirmation email of when you've scheduled that appointment, and you'll also get the reminder email, but they're generic. If you have paid for the automations, then you can go in and you can customize your confirmation email and customize your reminder email, as well as including the link to your video conferencing, whether it's Zoom, whether it's Google Meets, or whether it's, you know, whatever other one you're using. I personally use my reminder email to let my client or potential client know what will be covered on the call, so they know they can come prepared. I put my link into that as well for the meeting, which saves you time sending out another email before the meeting just with the link in it. So it's time saving and it's a better experience for everybody around. The third system is marketing system. Now, we all know about digital marketing. It's the one thing most business owners put all their efforts into, and we need to. But you need a system. You know, this business of having a folder for your content, a folder for your graphics, and a folder for whatever else you're going to use. It is such time-wasting practice, and you lose track of where everything is. With your planning system, look, it can be something simple as, once again, as Google Sheets or Excel. There's also a free software called Airtable. And Airtable is like a database, but it's set up as a spreadsheet. And at the moment, I'm having a lot of fun with Airtable. And it's just the advantages of having a planner is everything is in one place. So you put in your content. If you have links, if you've got links going to your website or to your landing page, or links because you are sharing someone else's information, that goes into the planner, as well as the graphics. So it's all there. And later on, when you're going back and you're wanting to repurpose posts that have worked really well, you're not going into your hard drive, finding folder X, finding folder Y, and then putting all together in folder Z. It's there in the planner for you.
How much time would you say you put into organising that? I mean, this is no question on how much time it's saving you, but how much of your time tends to go into that scheduling?
I schedule time at the end of the month to plan my next month's worth of content. So
that's what an organised person does, and I'm giving you credit for that, and I'm not necessarily the most organised person in the world. So you're possibly changing my life again in terms of hearing what you're saying.
Look, honestly, if I've got a whole day, then it'll take me the day. It might take me, you know, a couple of hours spread out through the week. It depends on my schedule. The thing is, or if you don't schedule it, what you're doing though is you're going into, say, Facebook, for example. Every day you're creating that post, you're finding the graphic, and then you're watching for comments if you get any type of thing. You know, that can take 2 hours, depending on how quickly you are at creating content, searching for images. The other thing so that's a standalone planner, but you can get an all-in-one planner and scheduler. And the only difference is the planner and scheduler, you still plan your whole content out, but you can then schedule the day and time that those posts will go into your preferred platforms. Now, this is where I hear a lot of people, I see it all the time, people asking on social media, what's the best social media planning software is available? And time and again, they will come back with Hootsuite, Postcron, and a whole range of software. And even social media managers will say this. The thing I want to stress here is, if you're on Facebook, then use Facebook's resources. Facebook has a free tool called Business Suite. Facebook has always said, this is not a secret, that they will always prefer their own resources above anyone else's. So if you're using a third-party scheduling system to schedule your Facebook posts, you are not going to get the reach you would get if you used their resources. Now, let's face it, Facebook doesn't necessarily do business owners many favors unless we're prepared to pay. So why not make it easy for yourself and use their resources? It's exactly the same as Hootsuite and the others. You have, they've made some changes recently, and this is one of the problems I hear people say about Facebook is, I don't want to use their back end because it's constantly changing. And yes, it is changing, and I think the latest updates are really good. They are pretty well spot on, finally. But it's, once again, you've got the whole month calendar, so you can plan out your monthly Facebook posts. You've got your places for your links. You've got your places for your graphics. You can even create your stories. And the other thing about Business Suite is you can also cross-post to Instagram. So you're saving time there as well.
Well, this is fantastic to know, Kim. Thank you. And I must admit, I admire your profile and the way that you manage Facebook. I think you've absolutely got this nailed. So, you know, and would it be true that that's one of your main platforms that you've...
Oh. Yes, it is. Look, I think the platforms we use, I know one is it's where our clients are, but it also has to be the one that you feel most comfortable on. Because
absolutely, it's true.
You start becoming your true self. And I like Facebook simply because of the community side of it. You know, really, really very much so. But I've also this year made part of my plan was to get good at LinkedIn.
Yes.
Because, you know, my clients are on LinkedIn. And so this year I've been really focusing on that. But what I find with LinkedIn is they don't have their own inbuilt scheduling tool. So this is where you need that third-party scheduler for it.
Yep.
And
gotcha.
yeah, so do some research. There's lots, like I said, there's lots of social media scheduling software you can use. Some are quite reasonably priced. Some are very expensive. There is one specifically for LinkedIn. The name escapes me, but it is very expensive to use. So find something that's free. Like if you're only on two platforms like myself, I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn, but the only two I want to use. I don't want to learn anything else at this stage. So find something that you can use to schedule your LinkedIn. And there's a free one that I've just started playing with called Plannable. Now, Plannable services a lot of the different social media platforms, including LinkedIn, but it's also, you can get up to 50 posts a month for free, which is quite a substantial number of posts. So, and once again, you just map it out. And one of the things I suggest people do when it comes to planning your digital marketing is decide on the themes for the month. You know, I'm not a social media manager. I have learned a lot about marketing. And I know that if you can have a theme for the month and you decide what post you're going to create based on that theme, makes your life so much easier.
Look, thank you, Kim. That's just you really comprehensively. I can't believe how much you've been able to share in terms of that was the 3 systems that make managing your business easier. So then the next number 3 we've got is the 3 mistakes that business owners can make that cause overwhelm and cash flow, problems with cash flow. So this is an important area too.
It is, and you know, everybody focuses on saving people from being overwhelmed. Very few talk about that overwhelm also impacts cash flow. Because if you're drowning, then it impacts every aspect of your life. We all know this. We know that if we get stressed, you know, it affects our health, it affects our relationships, it affects everything. And it's the same when we're in business. the thing is, you know, in those first few years, and I hear this from the different people I talk to in Facebook groups and in the groups that I run, and just in connecting with people, everyone talks to me about, I'm so overwhelmed, fear of missing out, you know, the next bright, shiny object, all of these things. And I don't know about you, Jane, but I know when I first went into business, you know, I went from being a very organized person who knew exactly what they wanted to being pulled in one direction. Then I'd be in this one, then I'd be over here because of all the experts in the newsfeed saying, you need to focus on this, you need to have that, and you need to be doing this. None of them helped move my business because I didn't stay on any of them long enough to see if they worked, because I was constantly being distracted and pulled, which creates overwhelm. And we start thinking, you know, everything I'm doing is not working. Well, it's not working because we haven't committed to one thing. So that's part of overwhelm. And then if you haven't got that commitment in your business, then how in the heck do you know where the money's coming from? As well as that, you're sitting there in fear, not being able to make a decision, so you're not selling, you're not promoting. So cash flow is impacted. So the mistakes that people make, and look, we did say 3, but I'm going to throw in an extra little sneaky one.
Do it.
Because we've just been talking about systems. So one of the mistakes people make is they break their own systems. So what do I mean? Okay, so you've met somebody, you know, whether it's at a networking event, whether it's online, but you've been talking with somebody and you've decided you'd like to know more. They'd like to know more about what it is that you do. So you send them your link to your scheduling system, but in the email you say, disregard the automations, just book a time. Now, so what I mean, now I'll give you an example of what I have set up for myself. So I offer discovery calls. So part of my Calendly system is we get a questionnaire. So they fill in a questionnaire of about six very easy questions, which allows me to do some homework. So I get to know a little bit more about the business. So when we have the discovery call, we can go straight down into the nitty-gritty. Now, if I break that system, I've got nothing to fall back on, and I'm straight away asking all those questions that I don't really need, but I need to know in order to move on to the nitty-gritty. So I've broken that system. And as well as that, if you've got questionnaires or you just say questionnaires set up, this is your data. This is the information you're collecting on your leads, on your potential clients. So if you've broken that and they come back 3 months later because they're ready, you've got to start again. You've lost all that data. So don't break your systems. I'll go back to the money one as well. Bookkeeping at least once a month, not once a year. So now, what's the 3 big ones? The 3 big ones that I find people do is not planning, or worse, having a plan, but not working the plan. So the things we need to consider is, where is your business going? And I did this myself, going back to the example I showed about being distracted everywhere. I knew in my mind what I wanted my business to do. I knew where I wanted to go. But because I was distracted, my plan didn't actually come together. And if it did, I wasn't following it. So a plan helps you to stay on track. And the best thing to do is plan for the year, but don't work the year. So have an overall view of what your goals for the year is. And then break it down into 90-day cycles. You'll find it easier to manage. And if you do need to make changes to the plan, it's easy to change it in that 90-day cycle than it is to try and change a whole 12 months. Your plan needs to have your financial goals. How much money do you want to make for the year? How are you going to do it? You know, are you selling packages, programs, books? How many do you have to sell in the year to reach your financial goal? Once you've determined that, break it down into quarterly. How much do I need to sell quarterly? Then break it down to monthly. How much do I need to sell each month to reach my financial goal at the end of the financial year?
It seems almost too simple, doesn't it, Kim? But I know in the beginning, I wasn't looking at business from that point of view. I don't know what I was expecting to happen, but I just wasn't doing it.
No. And I don't, look, you know, Jane, I believe the reason that this is quite a common scenario is the world of entrepreneurship, solopreneur, small business is growing. And people like myself are coming into this business world from a non-business background.
Yeah.
And we're just learning as we go.
Exactly. And in fact, it's just great to have people on this call and knowing that my authors can watch this at any time, because the sooner you get on top of this stuff, the sooner you'll be able to grow your business and your results.
Yeah. Yeah, and that plan also needs to include what your 3 goals, you know, your 3 top priorities are. So one would be the sales. You know, that's going to be the biggest goal for anyone, I think, is to have the sales. The second one is, you know, is speaking. If you're looking at publishing a book, then, you know, and part of creating that awareness about your book is in the lead up, and also once it's published, is to get speaking gigs. So how many of those do you want to lock in each month? How many podcasts do you wish to be a guest on? And then you can start aiming for these. And then, what else have I got? Let me just see. I'm not sure I haven't missed anything. I think speaking. And then the other one to have in that as well is your marketing. So how regularly do you want to market? Is it every day of the week? Is it 3 times a week? And what platforms you're going to use? So when you've got that plan, that's your 90-day plan. And one of the biggest benefits I find is if you have the plan, you know what you're focusing on, then you're less likely to be distracted by those bright, shiny objects coming out. And I'll give you an example of one earlier in the year was Clubhouse. How often did we hear about Clubhouse? The whiz bang, everyone should be on Clubhouse. And there were offers going out for free accounts to Clubhouse, but you needed to be on an iPhone to be able to sign up for Clubhouse. Now Androids can also sign up. And it was very tempting, but I sat back, you know, and I had people saying, oh, Kim, you should be on Clubhouse. But I sat back, I went back to my plan. Nowhere on my plan did it say, sign up to a new platform. It said, get good at LinkedIn. I stuck to the plan. I'm still not on Clubhouse, and I don't intend to be on Clubhouse because it just is not what I need in my business right now. So this is the benefit of having a plan. It keeps you on track, keeps you accountable. So that's one. What was it? Next one, 2. Mistakes people make when it comes to, my favorite. I think it's my favorite, my second favorite. Not tracking. Not keeping track of the results. So, you know, example is we're out there, we're posting on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, but we've got no idea of what's working, what's not working. Each platform has its insights where you can go in and see what the reach is. How many people actually saw your post? How many commented? How many reacted? Who gave the like? Who gave the love? What part of the world they're from? What time of day or night are they viewing your content? And if you've got this information, then you can use this. You can use it to your advantage. So the posts that are working really well are the posts you keep using. The ones that aren't working very well, they're the ones you just get rid of them. You know, there may be one or two that's worth tweaking, but really if they're bombing out, then stop using them and focus on the ones that are working. If you find your audience is coming from overseas, then perhaps and you're scheduling in Australian time, then maybe it's worthwhile considering, particularly if your business is wanting to target the overseas market, that you change your time to coincide with when your overseas audience is online. Now, if you don't have this information, you can't make these decisions. The same with landing pages. So I find people put a lot of effort into creating a free offer so people will opt in exchange for an email address. And people think landing pages are set and forget. You need to check the metrics to find out how many people are landing on your page compared to how many are opting in. So if you have 100 people landing on your page and 10 are opting in, that's about 10%. That's not a bad rate, conversion rate. But if it's only one person every 100, then there's a problem. Now, people then automatically assume the problem is the free offer. They think no one wants this. It's not what people want. 9 times out of 10, it's not the offer. It's the content around the offer. You haven't got clarity in the message, and that message is not reaching the right people. So it's worthwhile just experimenting and just changing the content. It may be something as simple as just changing the heading so that it's more direct and it's grabbing people. The other reason why you need to check your landing page is to make sure any links you have not broken along the way, because that's another reason why people, they can't opt in, because the links are not working. And as they say, what you don't measure, you cannot improve. So what's your percentage of success? So if you're speaking, you know, how many conversions are you getting from your speaking events? Are you getting more followers? Are you selling your books, for example? Now, tip number 3, and this one is definitely my favorite, and that's yourself. You, me, we, us. We are the biggest hurdle in our business. We are the ones that stop ourselves from moving forward. We're the ones that allow ourselves to get overwhelmed. You know, we come into this business world and we bring all our life experiences. We bring in our limiting beliefs. We bring in our attitudes around money. We bring in our lack of self-confidence. We bring in the belief, I don't think I can show up. You know, I don't want to do a live. I don't want to go out networking. I just want to sit here in my computer and sell my products. We bring all this to the party, and we need to do the work to move beyond it. Otherwise, we don't. If we're not prepared to grow as a person, how in the heck do we grow the business?
Great point. Absolutely spot on.
You know, and this is personal. This is a personal journey that I've had as well in reaching this point and being prepared to get the help I need to get myself to where I want to go. And it's an ongoing process, Jane. You know this. You know, our personal development is ongoing. You don't get good at one thing and that's it. Sit back and think, you know, I've got that one. It's ongoing, and there's always things coming up that challenges and changes our perspective. And there's signs that I find that we have as well. We know we need the help, but we're sitting back, and we're staying in that space of being overwhelmed. And some of the signs we have are the messages we say to ourselves. Things like, I'm too busy. I'm too busy for that. I'm too busy. I'm too busy to check my metrics and do analysis. I'm too busy to plan my 90 days. I'm too busy, I'm too busy, I'm too busy. Followed by, we often have the thought, oh gosh, I can't keep going like this. I need help. We pull back on social activity. We're constantly missing out on social activities. All we're doing is our business, and this impacts upon other people in our lives as well, because we're not spending enough time with them, and they start to get a bit cranky about that. And we're constantly finding ourselves, we're putting out fires. We're chasing up people, putting out fires because we don't have the systems in place. We don't have the processes in place.
Yes, so true.
We're exhausted. We just get to the stage we're exhausted. And the other thing that doesn't get spoken about very much, it's coming out now more and more, but it's the loneliness side of it.
It is coming out more, isn't it? People are talking about this. It can be lonely as heck to run a business.
Yeah, and it's the loneliness because, most of us are working from home, or, we might go to a cafe, we might go to a co-op workspace every so often, but predominantly as a solopreneur, we're working from home. And the loneliness is not just the fact that it's you and four walls, it's the fact you don't have anyone to business speak with.
Yes, and to be honest with, to unpack, to say, I'm scared. I really feel like I'm going out the door backwards. I'm scared. I don't even have a fresh perspective I can bring to this anymore.
That's right.
It's real, isn't it? It's real. This sort of segues into that last lot of 3 things that you're going to be talking about today. And that is the 3 things to look for if you are going to bring someone in to help you. And I'd love to hear about that, because I'm sort of on that precipice myself, I reckon.
Okay. Well, for the sake of transparency, I am an online business manager, and I am going to be talking about coming from that aspect, but I'm also going to be talking about virtual assistants as well. So just before I talk about the 3 things to ask yourself is, first of all, look at what is going on in your head. So I guess gave some examples, the conversations you're having, the ones around, I'm too busy, I'm exhausted, I need help. These are the verbal or subconscious cues that you are seriously looking at help, having someone to come and help you. And often it's just that fear of affordability, not knowing who to ask for help, and not knowing where you need the help that holds us back. So when you reach that point where you're seriously considering having someone in to help you, one of the things that people are unsure of is who is the best person to help me? So from a VA and an OBM perspective, the question to ask yourself, the number one question to ask yourself is, do I want to oversee the project, or do I want someone who will do that for me? If you want to oversee, meaning you still want to be involved in the project, that means that you're responsible for allocating the task, setting the timelines, making sure they have all the resources, following up, answering all their questions, and signing off. If you would prefer to have someone to do it all for you, then what's involved is the initial conversation around what the goal is. The next step is that you'll be kept in the loop, then you sign off. Now, I don't know about you, but I know which one I would prefer to have. But that comes back down to where you're at in your business, which is the next question to ask yourself. What stage of growth is your business at? If you're in those first few years, then the chances are you're generating income, but it may not be that $100,000 a year turnover that you're aspiring for. It might, in that first year, it's quite possible you're generating 25,000, 50,000. It's a slow progress before you get to that magical six-figure business that we're all aspiring for, you know. And I'm not going to go down into all that propaganda. But so I'm going to say, so what growth is your business at? Have you proven your business model works? Do you have people buying your products, your services, your books, your programs? Are you generating consistent income? You know, if you're generating 10 to 15,000 consistently every month, then you're ready for someone like myself. But if you're coming in under that, then a virtual assistant is probably the best place for you to start with. And there's many types of virtual assistants that help you in all areas of your business. The third question to ask yourself is, what are the bottlenecks? Where am I spending too much time? Where is it I'm losing clients? Where am I putting out the fires, and why am I putting out fires? Now, with an OBM, you know, part of what I do is we have a discovery call, and that call is designed to identify your bottlenecks. So I can then take those off your shoulders. But if you're talking to a VA you're looking at, then you need to be able to identify where you need the help, so you know which type of VA that you want to hire. So that's really it, Jane. That's the 3 questions.
I'm just so very grateful to your generosity here. You've shared so much with us, and as the comments have come back in such a simple, easy to digest way, and you know that you have that is your superpower. I own that. That's a fantastic thing to have. And do you just, for the record, do you want to say where people can find you?
Oh, well, my email address is on my tile there, my photo.
Oh, that's really good. Yes.
Kim@officesociety.com.au.
Beautiful.
And you will find me on Facebook, and you will find me on LinkedIn.
Thank you so much, Kim, and thank you for coming along, CJ and Deborah. You've done the distance. Well done.
Thank you, ladies.
And let's just all stay in touch, and you know, just say that thing about business being a lonely place. You know, community is the solution. Yeah,
definitely.
Can I just ask, Kim, on Facebook and LinkedIn, what's your profile name?
Well, my business page is Kim Wright Office Society.
Right.
And LinkedIn is the same. It's Kim Wright Office Society.
Now, you have a great Facebook group as well, Kim.
Yes, I have a women's networking group called Women Embracing the World. And we help women to connect globally who want to enter the global market. And we're about to hold our first online networking event on the 28th of July.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay, great.
So you're quite welcome to come on over and join us. And, you know, I'm doing a lot of this in July, where it's called Connection Month. And it's looking at how to connect on social media and to turn that into a valuable business relationship, meaning one where if they hear of someone who's got a problem, they'll think, Jane Turner is the book coach. She's the one you need. So they're thinking of you and referring you. So this is what we're focusing on for July.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I'll learn more from you about that, Kim.
Yes, with a 5-day challenge coming up.
Yay, good one. Well, thank you so much. And, you know, everybody reach out to Kim if you want to have a follow-up conversation about how she might be able to help, and with that clarification. And your systems knowledge is fantastic, Kim. And I just really appreciate your time.
It's a pleasure. And thanks, Jane, for having me. And yes, feel free to reach out to even just look, brainstorm ideas. It's fine. Okay.
Okay.
Lovely.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
Now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.